This is Get Off My Lawn Live. Join us as we talk trending topics, world and local issues, and the conversations that we need to talk about as people. Get Off My Lawn Live is a Nighthawk Network presentation.
What's going on, everybody? Your boy eBuck is here. This is Get Off My Lawn Live, and I'm here today to basically talk to you guys about one thing. Normally on the show we are talking trending topics and the things we need to talk about as people, but to be honest, today's show is about me and what I need to do as people. So I have invited you here, whether you are here now or later on the rebroadcast, to understand some of what's been going on with me and why I haven't been quite as active on the network or just in general. Now, granted, I've been doing what I need to do, but in the same token, I'm not. So what does all this mean, you're asking? Well, we are going to take the next several minutes to break it down to you guys. So here we are in a nutshell. It's 2022, and as you know, we are all going through things due to just life in general, results of pandemic, what have you. All of those things have affected me, particularly in the last couple weeks. The problem that I'm having currently is that I am struggling with something that many of us have issue with, and that would be the issue of depression. Now, as you know, many of us, we go through our times where we just don't feel quite up to doing what we need to do to get stuff done. We are not quite ourselves for whatever reason there may be. In the case of me, it's been a variety of things. One, I'm still dealing with the loss of several of people who were a part of my life, many of whom I've lost due to pandemic. It's been rough because there's been times where there are certain things that happen in your life, and it's only a couple people that really understand what that's about and specifics, because they were either there at the moment or they know something in regards to it that only they can relate to and understand about it. So because of that, I find myself now, particularly last couple of weeks, wanting to talk to those people, and those people are no longer among us. In particular, I talk about a couple of my good friends and confidants that I've lost. One of them, as you know, from the network, being Helena Hologram, also known as Derek Smith, my good friend who basically over the course of pandemic, I got to know extremely well. And we talked about a great many things. And I find myself literally at a loss since his passing these months ago. Um, the difference between most people's depressed state and the one I'm currently in is that I feel a lot of mine is self-motivated. In other words, I know what is bothering me about some of these things. Of course, I can't bring back those people I lost. That's something I can't really do nothing about. But a lot of the other things that's bothering me is definitely things that I can work on and resolve. I mean, I'm going through some things that we all have gone through from pandemic, some financial difficulties, some dealing with getting back into society, some dealing with just checking in more often with certain folks. A lot of stuff like that I'm kind of struggling with. And usually these are things that at least most of them are a little better at. But because it's like me, I'm not really sure what is causing the problem. Now, what I can tell you is I can sit here right now and tell you, okay, this is what it is, boom, 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 and this is what I'm doing to resolve it. And it would make sense to most of you, I would think. I even went as far this week to discuss with a couple people about what's going on in my life and get some of their input about it. One of them being a professional person that does those types of things. And they felt like that, yeah, on the one hand, I'm on the right path with it. It's just a question of the motivation. Now, understand, some of you that I'm looking at now, you are definitely understanding where I'm coming from. I'm looking at some of the comments, and Sean Love, who basically has known me since I was a teen and has known me to be a different person than I was back then. My Poco cousin Julie, who's going through a lot of her own things right now. I definitely have you in my prayer. There's a lot going on in your life, some of which I know, some of which I don't know. I'm looking at Latanya, who basically knew me since I was a child, and she has that same understanding. And of course, Big Meech, who basically shouted me out last night. Yes, Meech, this is the discussion that I said I was going to have, so we're having it. And I absolutely know you in that same boat. I mean, we probably could benefit from talking to each other truthfully, because our depression runs a lot deeper than just the people we have lost. So just like, I lost Helena, you lost her as well. But of course, you've lost your mom, you've lost your son, you've lost your brother, your family members. Seems like every other day you or I or somebody in the network is posting somebody of note that we have lost. I mean, it runs as deep as those people to some of the people that we did not know in real life, but had an effect on our life. I mean, such as Bill Withers. I literally cried that day Bill Withers died a couple years ago, because I really felt like in my head he was the uncle that I always knew. His songs brought me a comfort. I mean, they still do, that people would not understand. I mean, the power of music is a powerful thing. And the day he died, it really hurt me, because, if you knew his story about why he came to the point in his life where he decided to no longer be in the music business, I really get it. There has been points in my life where it was like, I don't even want to be bothered with anybody anymore. I could be that person that goes in the cave and closes the door and be just fine. And some days I feel like that. But other days I'm very much wanting to socialize and share my stories and understandings. And, I have my media outlets where I do so, but I'm there with you. I'm discussing, but in the same token, I'm not even here in myself when I'm having these discussions. You cover the front, I got your back. I hear you, Joe. So, the thing is, should you be concerned about me? Not to the point where, when Sarah Dash from LaBelle died, had been torn. Yeah, exactly. Especially since that was one of the people that we talked to, and that was definitely a very good discussion that particular night. I do recall that specifically. I mean, it's deep how, as you get older and you start to lose more people that you grew up knowing and was a part of your existence in some way, shape, or form, that it affects you. You really start to see your not mentality, that's not the word I'm looking for, your morality come into play. You really start to see the world from the other side of the mountain, so to speak. I mean, granted, only 51. Most days feel much younger, but other days really starting to see it from the other end. Starting to see the young people and saying, this is starting to be more your world now than mine. So it's a struggle some days. Now, part of it, of course, is the fact that I've always had an issue with sleeping. It's gotten worse, and part of it may simply be something physical. So yeah, I am going to get checked out about it soon. Yeah, exactly. That's the word I'm looking for, Meech. But truthfully, it's some nights I get up and I'm up for hours because I really can't bring myself to get ready for the next day, because I'm just not ready. It's like some nights I wish I could sleep more than one night. I could sleep a couple and then get up and do today. Now, some days I wake up and it's like, okay, I think I got this today. And somehow, some way, I make my way through it. But it's been some days lately where by the time noon hits, I'm so ready to crawl back in that bed and not get up to the end of the week. Now, I'm not saying I'm ready to end it. It's never been that bad. It's never going to be that bad. For anybody out here who's feeling how I'm feeling, please know it's never that bad. If it ever gets to feel that bad, please call me or call somebody in your circle or call somebody to help you. Never let your depression get you to the point where you feel like the only solution is to end all. It is never that bad. Never. Never. I am so thankful that all you guys are checking in today. It's kind of crazy. The day I really don't have a topic is the day a lot of you have checked in, but I'm glad to see some of y'all in the room. Amen. Yes, you do see it from another perspective. Indeed. And lots of it's because the world is not designed for us older citizens at this point in time. That's somewhat true, Meech, at least the world as we know it in this part of the America that we have come to know. I think other parts of the world, they deal with mortality and older people differently. I totally feel you. There's times where I couldn't get out of bed for days. My pain was gone while sleeping. Exactly. And so thankful that you are here in the room, Heather. You have definitely been on my mind a lot lately. Thank you for checking in. Hopefully you and the family are doing well. And it's a lot of you in the network that I've kind of been in the mindset of getting in touch with, just to kind of touch base with you to see how things are going. But the thing is, me being the person that I am, as one of my besties pointed out just a little bit ago when I talked to her, you know, I'm used to being a person that wants to help, the people pleasing type, the person that says, come get the good hug and all of that. But now I'm the person that needs me to get there before I can be that person. And I'm not having this discussion to reach out to you saying, help me, y'all, I'm drowning, because I really feel like the person that can only truly help me the most right now, outside of the good Lord above, is myself. I have to get my own mindset together to say, look, you still in there. You still got what it takes to get things done. You just have to work through the process of getting it done. It's motivation. When all things point to staying in the background, we must rediscover and redesign who we are. But it's hard when folks are gone. Exactly. The question is how. Because keep in mind, you just don't understand what certain people meant. I think about my friend Jay. I'd rather not put her name out there, but she was pretty much my confidant when things went so badly in my life a few years ago, most of which the people that know me well know about. She was the one person that kind of helped me through the process of get my life back together. And then just as I started to get it back together, the pandemic hits and it puts me in a whole nother space. Slowly, I worked it out, and, you know, I really learned a lot during the pandemic. But then just as things were about to start to be good, that's when things started to be bad. And it all really started when H2 died. I mean, to this day, for any of the people in her family that's out, it's something about the death of H2 that just don't sit right with my spirit. I mean, I literally talked to Helena for hours that day. There was no indication whatsoever that she was going through anything that would cause her demise. And it just really bothers me that it happened the way it happened. I mean, I'm still haunted to this day by that phone call I got where basically right after she ended her last show, she called me and said, brother, I'm scared. And I don't know what's going on, but I need to go to the hospital right away. I was like, you call me as soon as you get there. And when I didn't get no call, and the next day came, I knew something was wrong. But the last thing I expected to hear on the other line was that that person was gone. This was not a person who had any intentions of being not here anymore. We were just starting to really come up with good ideas and understandings. That's why it's been very hard for me to do things involving my Nighthawk network, because H2 inspired me. I think I inspired her as well. We fed well off each other. There was basically show concepts and things we wanted to do to help people and setting up foundations and all this type of stuff. And the only person that really understood it to the degree that it was her and I, because this was a constant conversation. It was not like we ever had a conversation where it was like, okay, well, I'll talk to you later. It was just kind of, okay, put a pin on this. And when we get back together, we'll talk some more. It was a constantly going conversation that basically just did not have the proper ending to me. And I think that's part of what bothers me about it. There's a lot of common interest that H2 and I had that is a bond I didn't have with anybody else. There is no replacing that. There are other people in my life that I could talk to, several of you that I see here, but nobody can replace who that person was for me. And also true of Janet, who basically knew me during a time in my life where I was a lot different than I am now, but could relate to me then and related to me before she passed. But hold on. Fortunately, I've never experienced depression or suicidal thoughts. I'm not exempted, so I praise God totally for his grace and very thankful that you have not. But yeah, like I said, I do recognize that is a problem that many of us have. It's been the worst year of my life. I fell into a depression I thought I'd never get out of. It's been hard, but I refuse to give up. I'm here if you ever need to talk. And it's good. It's good to hear that from you. I'm not sure who you are, but like I said, if I go to my other page, I'll figure it out. Appreciate your transparency, and there's no schedule for grieving and healing. Take your time. And like I said, yes, the grieving process is part of it, but part of it is just I'm not the me that I need to be totally successful in this life at this point. I'm not doing good with my weight loss. Yeah, I know it's the same thing. Well, just don't eat this and do more exercise. And it seems simple enough. And some days accomplish the goal, but other days just not it, because unlike some people, I don't turn to alcohol. I don't turn to marijuana or drugs. My coping mechanism of choice, it appears, is food. So I think that's what it is for me. I get to that point, it's like, all right, just hand me over a couple more cheeseburgers. I'll be all right. And that's how I've been coping. And that's not good. I've basically been fighting with the same 30, 40 pounds for the last 4 or 5 years now. Can I lose the weight? Absolutely. I have before. I've gotten down to 260 in less than 6 months. It's doable. It's the will of it all. I was doing very well with the network at one point. I was making the commercials. I was coming up with the show concepts. I was learning new processes and how to edit this and come up with that. But as time went on, I stopped doing a lot of what I was doing. And the only thing I can really explain it as is partially that. Another thing I can admit is because my mother is with us, but not with us. That's usually something I choose not to talk about on the air. But for full transparency, my mother is currently in a care facility. She is doing better, but she is still not the person that she once was, and truthfully will not be that. And it really is bothering me now. It weighs heavy on my spirit, especially since I live in the place that she called home for many years. Now I'm in the process of doing some remodeling and things to the house because it desperately needs it in some areas. But I kind of can't help but feel like this your mom's house and now you changing it all around. And, I did receive her blessing to do so. But even still, it's just weird, We've lived in this house for the better part of 40 some years. And it's kind of crazy when I look at certain things now and like, wow, it's already starting to look different. And I should be happy about that. I should be glad that I am starting to recognize this and starting to see some of the fruits of my labor in regards to that. But in the same token, I know I could do better. There was once upon a time And Sean can attest to this. I used to call myself the Great One. Basically, I modeled that after Wayne Gretzky, who was one of my favorite sports figures at the time. But now I don't feel that. I kind of need to have part of that feeling, but on a much more humble sense of it, if that makes any sense. Because that person was ready to do anything and everything possible to make things happen. And I need that feeling within me to get past this and move forward. Now, God is working with me, even through all of this. I mean, just in this response to this show. This is the most response I got in any show I did in months. And I'm just talking about me. So I know God is working even in the midst of this. But in the same token, I also know that God helps those who help themselves. And I need to do a better job of doing that. And you can do it. I know you can. Yes, it's the will of it. You are beating up on yourself because it's easy access. You've got to start with looking at what you have done right. And to thy own self be true, Meech, because I know we both have suffered a lot. And I see you doing the same things that you're talking about. Because I know you've been depressed and things as well. You too struggle with your weight and things of that nature. So I know you probably can relate to a lot of what I'm saying more than even most people in the room. But that being said, we both need to work on it because we both are awesome people. Definitely that. You do know that half of why this even exists in this platform as it does today was because of you. Yes, H2 was the one to inspire me to do better, but you was the one to help inspire me to do it at all. So I'll always be thankful for you for doing that, along with Red and Aunt Nikki, of course. Cousin, I love you. You were brought into my life for a reason, and I am richly blessed to know you. My anxiety and depression is through the roof these days, and I know you suffering as well. And you basically are an active participant. In other words, a lot of people not feeling what you're going through. They don't know how bad it is. I sense that with you though, Julie. That's why I try to support you where I can. You know, I think we should talk more because we could be a great help to each other in that regard. You are great and gifted and have so much to give. And the thing is, you already know, Sean, I've talked to you a lot about what I would eventually like to do with the network and some of the things I want to work on. But I need to get us to that part where it happens. That there's like I said, you guys just don't even understand to what extent I want to take my little network and do things. I don't ever see it as being a network where, okay, thousands of people tune in every week to our podcast. But I do see it to a point where people can look at this and be like, okay, that's somebody in that city of Detroit or Atlanta, wherever our other people are, that are doing things to help and uplift their people and society in general. And either I want to be a part of that or I want to help to contribute to that. And that's where I eventually want to get us to. I love your face, as Julie often says. God doesn't call the equipped, he equips the call. You called for a greater purpose. And of course, you are not the only person to tell me that. I think Sean also has said that in recent times. Here's an exercise I would like for you to do. Write your resume. If you were writing a story or an intro bio of you, what would it say? That is a good exercise. And I think as opposed to writing it, I think I will record it and perhaps I will do that. And it's good to have these exercises. Keep in mind, one of the things that the therapist person that I talked to suggested was to, get a couple of informational books about the clinical states of depression and kind of talk about that, because not only do I want to work this out within myself, but I also want to help other people with it, because I know there's a lot of people feeling like I do right now. Some of you in the room, as you have stated, and we all can help each other in regards to that. It takes a village, y'all, and that village don't stop once you become an adult. Adulting is where some of the hardest decisions have to be made. And right now, adulting has been kicking my butt. I'm in the midst of losing my mind about laundry, so there's that. I can't even do that. It's so many crates of laundry in this place. I've literally bought clothes so not to wash clothes. It's that bad. It's ridiculous. You know where you're at a point where life is overwhelming and the smallest unimportant things just make you snap. I am there. Yes, what Meech said. I understand. I understand, bro. But yeah, y'all, it's a process, but it's one I'm willing to go through. It's one that I have to go through because I really still look at this as this is the first day of the rest of my life, and my life is not over. One of the main concerns that I have is that I watched this process play out over the years with my mother, where she got to a point where she became very depressed, and most people did not understand it for that. She suddenly stopped dealing with people. She stopped going to family functions. She stopped calling people as regularly as she did. She stopped hanging out with her best buddies. It got her to that point. And then when other things happened in her life, it all just came to a head. Then that fateful day of the stroke and what have you, it all kind of went downhill. And now she's a version of herself that is functioning. She's alive. You know, I like to say that I'm alive and well. I don't feel the same of her at this point. She is alive and not well. And, you know, my concern is that she will never get to that point again where she wants to do better, be greater, try harder. She just wants to kind of play it out. And I don't want to get to that point, and I don't want her to be to that point. I still feel even her life has some more chapters yet to be written. Child, I've washed, but they are still in the laundry bags and got more to do. So yeah, we all understand that. I mean, like I was telling my friend earlier, I really wish I had an assistant for 60 days. Somebody be like, look, I need you to help me get my ish together. I know what I need to do. I know what I need you to do, but I just need some help with it. Because keep in mind, when you are a single person, living your single life alone, and it's up to you to kind of take care of things and fix things, some days you are completely cool with that because you are on your own schedule at your own pace. But other days it's like, man, what to do, what to do. It's crazy, you know. But what I will tell y'all is this. It's gonna take me a little time. Not a lot, but a little. I really am not wanting to broadcast a lot until I get to the point where I can start doing it the way I was doing it, or even better still. So, in terms of get off my lawn live, won't be live as much the next few weeks as I work some of this out, because some of it is just strictly time and financial, and I need the time to get them two things together. But when I do come back fully, I will tell you I will go back to Tuesday because it's always been kind of a crunch ever since I changed it to Sunday to get it in and make sure I have time enough to give space to my brother Meech and his broadcast. Not that the two audiences mix or anything like that, but you know, I really like to watch his show myself, so I don't want to be broadcasting while his show is on because you know sometimes that kind of gets me through my day, whatever we end up talking about. Even though I will admit, Meech, you've had some very great guests on, but some of the best shows we have is when we just talking in general and having a few good laughs and you know talking about the good old days and all that. I kind of need some of that in my life from time to time. Create your own I can do this playlist, but until you do, take a listen to mine. And I will do that, Meech. I absolutely will. It's funny because I'm actually making a playlist for a different reason. But yeah, I could just basically make another playlist while I'm doing that. But what I will tell you people, the reason why I am doing this show today is because I know I'm not the only one out here suffering. I know I'm not the only one out here in need of a pick me up, a kind of you got this. So I'm glad that some of the people that came in the room to let you know, yeah, you got this, and to encourage you. I'm sure some of them, if you are in need of someone to discuss with, will be willing to have that discussion with you. Under most normal circumstances, I would be as well. But I need y'all to give me a minute to help me get myself together. Now, to my broadcast partner, that would be Hugh Lee. I owe you apology for the other day and how abruptly the show ended, but there are some things we need to talk about. There will more than likely be a Game Time Audible for the next couple of weeks. It might be done a little differently. Me and Hugh will talk about that. But I really do want him to continue to do the show. It is important for him to do that. If you notice, I've been kind of pushing for him to be more actively involved in the forming of the topics and whatnot in the show, because I really feel like it's more his show than mine. I understand that I was the one who asked him to do it, and it's more or less my concept, but I really feel like he is a good person who has a great knowledge of the sports that he talks about, and I really hope that y'all get a sense of that when we do the show. If not, I definitely want to do things to get you to better understand that there are other smaller shows that I plan on doing. One of them I'm still going to do in the midst of getting things together. The name of that show is The Problem I Have. And the first episode should air sometime either today or tomorrow. And you will learn the problem I have with the judicial hearings for the confirmation of Ketanji Brown Jackson. Definitely have some problems with that I want to discuss with you guys. It will be my audio podcast, by the way, so you'll be able to listen to it on Spotify and Google and Apple Podcasts and all that. And I really want to get you guys' input, so there is a voicemail that's attached to that. If you guys can listen to it and give your opinions on that voicemail, that not only helps the numbers go up for me and sets up possibilities for advertisements, but also it helps me to better formulate that particular podcast, which I promise won't be longer than 30 minutes or so, as opposed to our regular shows. So check that out. It'll be on the Nighthawk Network information page, and let me know what you think. But in the meanwhile, y'all, today I'm basically just going to work on some of the things that I need to work on right now and get some rest. And like I said, we will be still checking in from time to time. You might see me pop in on Dish and T here and there. Don't worry, we're not going to be gone long. And when we come back, there's a lot of good things I want to talk about. And there's definitely some of you guys I want to talk to. And for those of you who have talked about doing a podcast but wasn't quite sure how to work it all out, I've come up with a new concept that I think you guys will find very intriguing. And I will talk to you about that once I get it better set up. But in the meanwhile, y'all, I just got to work on me. I need the time to dig deep in myself, and with the help of prayer and understanding, come up to the conclusion of, look, you got this. It's time to get it going. And I say that to you as well, Meech, and anybody else in the room. You got this. You just have to find it within yourself to make it happen. And don't utilize some of the other things the devil would tempt you to do in order to mask what's going on. There's not enough liquor or alcohol or pills or sex or any of that in the world to cover up the issue. Sometimes the only way you can deal with it truly is to deal with it, but to deal with it where it's not overwhelming. You deal with it one day, one step at a time. And that's what I've set out to do. So I thank you guys for listening. Like I said, if you checked in today, thank you. If you catch this later on and want to leave your comments, I will check back as I always do, see what you have to say on the subject. Just know that I'm good, y'all. I'm not great, but I'm good. There is no concern as to me doing something to myself or anything like that. I have none of those thoughts whatsoever. Please know that. Just know that I kind of need some space to kind of get me together a little bit. But once I do, I will be in touch and we'll talk. And it's several conversations I need to have with several of y'all. So hopefully I will take the time to talk to y'all about it. But in the meanwhile, I want you guys to work on y'all if you need to, and find someone to talk to, as I have. If you having issues that you need to discuss and you feel like you can't work them out yourself, there are people that are paid to do that, but there are also people who are willing to do that. There are good friends of yours who may be very helpful in that regard. And like I said, once I'm back on track and doing better, you can count me into that list as well. But until then, y'all, I just want y'all to be safe, be blessed. Remember, Corona's still not quite over, so still kind of be cautious. We can open up a little bit, but take your time. That being said, y'all, we will find a theme song. We head up out of here, and we will catch you not necessarily Sunday, but sometime soon. But like I said, please check out the new podcast and let me know what you think. That will be airing sometime next 24, 48 hours. Until then, y'all, we are out of here. Love y'all. Peace.